Now we're going to talk about minority languages next, because a new report in the UK is raising the alarm over the survival of languages like Welsh. Apparently only half of young people in Wales consider themselves to be fluent. They say they tend to text and tweet in English because it's more international. And in fact, UNESCO says if nothing's done, almost half of the world's languages will disappear by the end of this century. Well, as it happens, we have our own minority linguists in the world's newsroom, including Anne-Marie Tomchak, and we can join her now. Hi, Anne-Marie.
Diolch Michelle, August Céad Míle Fáilte to the World's Newsroom. Now, in case you're wondering what I just said there, I just welcomed you to the World's Newsroom in Irish, which is the official language of the Republic of Ireland, where I'm from. And I just want to give you a sense of a little bit of the Irish language and the musical background to the language. We've got a short clip that we want to play for you.
Dear she long gonna go sultans Dagan kiel revish She master any lurking out the war she towering hui So leg my seer on soon fire Spawn and bow her is karum Bon and make can't scream
Michelle, that clip has been hugely popular in Ireland. The reason being is because it shows young people in a context that they can really relate to. So despite it being Irish, it's being shared all over the social networking sites, has about 700,000 views on YouTube, which is a lot of viewers, considering that Ireland has a very small population. Now, we just want to tease out a bit more about minority languages. I'm joined by Pablo here from BBC Mundo and Temtsel from the Chinese service. Like Irish, Pablo, Spain has its minority languages, and similarly, they have state backing in that they get official recognition.
Yeah, Spain has almost 40% of Spanish live in regions where Spanish is not the only language. There are bilingual regions. We have 4 languages in Spain: Spanish, Catalan, which is spoken also in Valencia, where it's called Valencian language, Basque language, and Galician language, which is very similar to Portuguese.
Temtsel, I just want to bring in you here because in China there seems to be a big drive towards getting people to speak Mandarin. That's the dominant language, but there are lots of other languages in China as well, aren't there?
Yes, Mandarin Chinese is a standard language official language for Chinese. I think there are over a billion people speaking are Mandarin speakers. But apart from Mandarin Chinese, there are over almost 300 languages spoken in China, and there are four or five major non-Chinese languages. They are Tibetans, Mongolians, and Uyghurs. So those major languages, I think, are spoken by a population of almost 100 million.
So still huge numbers, but still considered minority languages compared to Mandarin. But one of the things that seems to stand out is that young people in the age bracket of 16 to 24 are saying that they're not using their native tongue to tweet or to text. They're using English or other languages because they see them as more beneficial for their careers or more international. Is that something you can relate to?
Yeah, I think that's same as elsewhere in the world. China is the same. Young people have the pressure of this socio-economic pressure. They have to use the mainstream language to compete for better jobs and better chances in the society. And there's also, I think, there are assimilationist pressure from the state. They try to convert those major non-Chinese people to speak Mandarin Chinese. So there are some different voice complaint from the Uyghurs, Tibetans, and Mongolians.
And of course, that type of pressure then can lead to tensions, political tensions, and even violence, as we've seen in certain parts of the world because of language. People really want to hold on to it.
I think in Spain it's slightly different because after 40 years of repression during Franco's government, in the 60s, the other languages are official and they get the support of the regional governments. And even the young people now, the youth in those regions are using either Spanish or their own language, especially Catalan and Basque. And they are very popular also in social media. There's music, media, televisions, newspapers in those languages. So probably it's still a little bit a source of tension, but it's pretty much normal. at this moment.
It's very important to see that language as something that they can use in the future and to see it as a living language. That is the thing that really stood out to me as someone who learned the Irish language in school from when I was very young, and most Irish children go through the process of learning the language, but not really seeing it as something that they can use in their careers, but then seeing it in the context of a broadcaster or a newspaper or watching television programs in your language is incredibly important.
It is very important, and it makes those languages useful for the people who learn them. Because, for example, if you're required to know that language in order to get a job in that region, you find it very, very, very useful. Even if you didn't know that language, you wouldn't be able to get a job. That's what happens in some regions in Spain. So this is the way of making those languages relevant.
Pablo, thank you very much for joining us, and Temtsel, thank you for joining us. Well, seeing the language as a living language is important, and with that in mind, I'll say slán go fóill for now.
Anne-Marie, and I will say shukriya, thank you, which is not a minority language, actually, the national language of Pakistan, but there you go, it's the best I could do.